15, max overtime. Well, you probably want a quicker second match, and it can only really go as, as slow or quicker than that of the first one. Oregon, though, is laxing set. It's gonna come down to the disrespect, the gunfights, and again, the individual heroics, which we saw a lot of in the first map of Chalet. So I think both teams are pretty happy here. We're gonna see the bans go out, and some things they will change, and some things will stay the same. Spirits is Blitz banned out in map number 1, as well as in map number 2.
Yeah, Mirage want nothing to do with that. They saw maybe just 2 days ago that Wildcard were pulling out the Blitz every once in a while, that they were comfortable with that, making it very clear that they do not want to have to deal with that flash shield. And not surprisingly, the Ying is also taken off the board, one of the most powerful attacking operators on Oregon, and why she is banned almost every single time. Just thinking about that basement site for one, a very, very tough site to attack, but one that becomes a lot easier when you have some Candelas to throw down that E-box hatch, to throw into pillars, to throw into freezer even, and it really frees up your options. But Wildcard starting off on the attack will not have that option, as they are very likely to have to attack the basement site first.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you're not starting basement, what are you doing, right? It's one of those... like 9.99999 out of 10 times you will start on bomb site. There's no reason not to. Like, it's not even like you can be a bad team at defending basement bombs at Oregon. No, it's just, it's so easy that it works in your favor as a defending team. Everyone goes there every single time without failure. And funny enough, it's been that way pretty much since the beginning of the game, Before Oregon got reworked, basement was also the primary bomb site way back in 2015, 2016. Some things never change. Mirage still gonna be feeling quite good after that impressive comeback on Chalet. It did not start out all that good for them, but Omar did show up. And it was a team effort. I think every single player finished at 10 kills or more, if not mistaken. But Rambi, of course, individually winning some rounds. Merc, same story for Wildcard. Adam almost won a round single-handedly as well for Wildcard. But Oregon is gonna be more about probably like playing closer together. It's a much smaller map. You can't roam as offensively. At least you would attempt not to see that being the playstyle. I do like this though from Kenson. Just pick up the Solace and get some proactivity out here, right? Look for those drones. Nothing's happening. We got 3 of them in the perfect phase already. Look for a swing, fall back. Don't overstay your welcome. This is all about the bomb site down below. If you lose a member on the roam like this because you stick out for a little bit too long, that's a massive blunder on your side on defense. So it's all about for the attackers, how quickly, yet safely, can you clear the entire map and then get to those, the hatch breaches. And typically the pace we're gonna look at here is that you start breaching those basement hatches between 130 and 145 seconds left in the round.
Well, as you said, that basement site, really, you could just put all 5 defenders down there and you're still gonna have a lethal defense. It's not all about the roam necessarily, like it is on a map like Chalet and kind of what we saw throughout map number 1. And as such, this map generally depends a bit more on coordination than individual hero plays. Of course, every map in Siege does have its place for those hero plays. It's always possible to see those clutches, but it's just not going to be as likely here on Oregon. And so it's going to have to be a coordinated effort from everybody on this roster if they want to get the job done. But speaking of, Wildcard in their coordinated effort to get these hatches open have done so in exactly the timeline that you prescribed, Nick, at around 135, 140. That E-box hatch got opened wide.
Yep, so right on schedule right now. That means that they're not at a disadvantage on the attack. If you start breaching those hatches now at like 1 minute 10 seconds, you're gonna really hurry up the next step of the strategy. What we just witnessed was the roam clear. That's the drone phase, the setup stage. Now we're looking at slowly getting close to that execution step. Just drone out the last few barbed wires, clear the util, nade comes out, and then surely shortly after, this execute should be underway.
Spiker, still in Harry Potter, in a good position to deny that very thing. Unable to open up an angle onto that position. It just means that Wildcard are going to have their work cut out for them as they drop into E-box. Surf will turn around and finally deal with the smoke. Adam was dropped in the process, though, so essentially this is now a 3 versus 3 as we near that final 30-second mark. Merc has now joined his team down below. Packer, he's taking up that position in bunker and looking towards elbow, but he's not going to find much luck there. He's is going to have to play with his team. A last-second drone to get a bit of intel before they work their way on in. Surf identifies that it's clear, no C4s left. He's going to attempt the plant. Merc gets shut down on the coverage, but Surf is doing his job to perfection. Doesn't even need to get this diffuser down. He can just do it all himself. But as the clock nears that 0-second mark, he had to stick it, and the coverage was not sufficient.
Oh, I mean, it's always tough in these positions to play, right? And I think Wildcard played it really well there to start things off, where Surf starts planting, but they recognize that someone like Rampy and the rest of Mirage, because they have no C4, because Smoke died earlier on, they have to run in and take these gunfights. So Surf starts planting, baits the push, gets off it, and they actually find picks. They get into a 2 versus 1. That's exactly where you want to be. But the cover from Packer just not there. And it looked like there's a bit of miscommunication, because if Surf is gonna stick the plant in the corner, Packer doesn't have to swing out offensively. The last defender said, well, it's Kansan with no impact grenades. He has to swing you. We can argue that, okay, Packer was confident, he wanted to go for that kill, etc. And that may be. But it did look like for a short moment there that Packer was expecting Surf to swing with him for that 2v1 swing, but the timer simply didn't allow for it. If the plant didn't start going down, they would have lost on time. And Kansan wouldn't need to fight for it. It's an impressive shot though from him. And it buys Mirage. Very first round, something they couldn't do on Chalet. They lost the first 4 in a row before finding any type of success. But they're warmed up now. And you can definitely tell a big difference from the first couple rounds in Chalet to the last couple on Chalet. Looking a lot better.
Also helps, of course, that they are on the defensive side of Oregon here, so they are likely to be able to settle in and find their stride rather quickly. It's Wildcard who have the real responsibility here to try to defy the odds and get as many attacking rounds as they can before they eventually switch over to the defense. Round 1 had its moments, but obviously wasn't perfect for them. So they're going to see what they can do here in round number 2 as they begin this roam clear on the first floor. Slothy, their target on the Solus, positioned between kitchen and security right now, will be a threat that they have to take care of if they want to work their way up and begin some vertical destruction.
That's a risky swing, Slothy. Not necessarily necessary, but he goes for it anyway. And Oregon is a map where somebody like Merc has a lot more freedom. You have Spirits with the grenades and a more supportive role on that self-destruction duty, and Merc becomes this really quick spearhead that Wildcard can utilize, and it's how they're taking map control so quickly. Merc, one of the fastest players in North America when it comes to entering, and he's very consistent, and it's why Wildcard look at the bomb site walls halfway into the round.
Good kill there from Packer. Good for him to get on the board early. Needs to find that momentum, but as I say that, he will get shut down quick as he tried to make a move towards the master balcony. Mirage start to work their way against this advantage that Wildcard had initially secured. You'll see the flashes come in now for this attack, and they're really starting to try to force this defense back. A lot of work left to do, though, because with Packer gone, they're just not going to have the hard breach potential they were hoping to have at this point in the round.
Attackers recovered.
Worth doing Spikers in the master bedroom closet with a soft wall. Just reinforce it, then it's open the rest of the round. But Merc's just in. This is just Merc doing Merc things.
Yeah, he's just in the site. Spiker, he didn't know where he was, so Spiker was able to take advantage of that and get the kill no problem. Nade from below could be perfect, and yes, it is. It's just Kansan now. Knows there's someone at the dorm's window, knows there's someone on white stairs. He clearly has the information. They're just gonna have to find the 3 kills, and that's easier said than done. He finds the first, but around the other side, it is Surf who gets it done, and Wildcard make it work on dorms.
That's one of the big differences between that base and bomb site that's so quote-unquote easy to defend versus, well, the other 3 bomb sites, is that the opening kills can be found for the attack like we saw from Merc. Because sure enough, the defender swung out the door, but when you're defending the tertiary bomb site of meeting and kitchen, or kitchen and dining, or this kid storm bomb site, attackers will walk on in, they will get into some relatively early engagements because you can't just play 5 people on the bomb site. And while Slothy didn't need to swing the door right there, there's a high chance he would die regardless. He's surrounded by enemies, he doesn't know what's clear, he can't really fall back, and it just kind of builds from there. And it's why being a strong attacking team on Oregon, it allows you to go for those opening kills and build yourself those man advantages. And it's so important because later on when you finally get to that bomb site, you have more guns looking at your opponents than they have looking at you. And that's just like the really simplified version, because Oregon only has a couple of ways in. Like Kid Storm defense, like we just witnessed, okay, big window jump in, wide stairs walk up, and then trophy door. That's the only real like 3 places you can be attacked from. If you only have 2 or 1 defender alive to watch it, there's always gonna be a gap. So when you're defending Oregon, you like having 3 to 4 defenders alive, because that ensures you can watch quote unquote everything that you need. So not having those numbers, like Mirage didn't, it allows for those gaps to happen, for Merc to walk on in, etc., and to exploit their advantage. Wildcard looking for a different round here, though. Mirage going from primary downstairs to upstairs to a tertiary bomb set of meeting and kitchen. And that's where you see the Osa and Amaru in play. Very standard stuff. Amaru can take big tower control, go for a late round flank possibly. And of course, Osa has those Talon shields, much like the Munty, that allows you a place to plant behind once you get to that bomb site.
A lot of people watching competitive Siege for the first time, maybe looking at the Amaru on this site and, might be a little bit confused. It's not like there is a window you can just rappel on into in the objective itself, but it's all about getting in the building quickly, using that Gara hook to get up to T3 and taking that space. And while Spirits is able to do that and remain unscathed, the same cannot be said for Merc, who tried to do far too much, far too quickly. Jumped in the green hall window, got shut down from Spiker. And so it'll be left to the rest of his team to pick up the pieces. Spirits manages to tie it up by taking care of Kansan in Attic. But down below, in the site itself, is where their attention will have to shift to next.
Yeah, I think people look at Merc and go, what is he doing? That's such a dumb play. But I think Merc was going for what I call an off-pace play, where it's very evident from the defenders that Wildcard was not in the position to do anything yet. So Merc is like, okay, if I do something right now, massive surprise factor. He tosses in the grenade, which, covers the sound of the vault in. And if, Spiker wasn't there to kill him on a jump in from the green hallway, he would have gotten into kitchen, probably gotten a kill or 2. So while Merc did do a really high-risk, high-reward play, I feel like it makes a lot of sense. But this roam chase right here, that's beautiful. The drone work, the instant reaction, the bug of surf downstairs, pops the wall, pops the head, and that allows the talent shield to go down to start that plant.
Yeah, now with beating opened up, the talent shield will get placed down initially, but quickly burned through by an impact grenade. And Adam, now out of those shields, will need to find a way to make do. Thankfully, they have the advantage, so they shouldn't be in too much trouble here. Surf can provide the cutoff in the green hall with the shotgun. Spirits can cut it off up above. And Adam, he'll be responsible for the coverage, but the C4 comes in at the perfect time. Now Adam's gonna have to recover the diffuser himself, and now the bodies for Wildcard start to fall, and this becomes a problem. Slothy up top, allowed to get into position and get the kill. Spirits misses his chance, and once again, Wildcard need to pick up the pieces. Flank from below, Vertical's been spotted, but he just barely misses his chance. Rampy stepping up, and he does so just in the nick of time. 2 for Rampy, and Mirage steal that one away.
Oh boy, it really is close in these rounds, and they both played it so well. I mean, the read there from Spirits that he knows there's a guy flanking basement tower stairs, knew this guy flanking attic, and that's again what it comes down to. When you have enough defenders alive, you can threaten the right amount of angles or cover the right amount of angles. They started things off with Valkyrie down in the basement, tossing a C4. That kills the planter first. Then they're down into that 3 versus 3. And then all of a sudden, they flank from basement up the tower staircase, a member flanks attic from top floor, and the third person on defense is pushing the bomb set itself. That was Rampy, and it puts the attackers that only have 2 members alive now to cover 3 angles with somebody else planting as well. So there's not enough lines. Despite the intel was there, they had drones yellow ping in the positions, but only 1 gun to work with it. Looking good for Mirage in these rounds. They got the setup, they got the problem solving. And, I mean, it's very small mistakes, if anything, for Wildcard, right? They take downstairs control, they kill Spiker downstairs, but then they kind of surrender downstairs control shortly after. It gets retaken by Vert, who has a C4. We see it right here. C4 comes up, whoop, he's dead. So they do all that work downstairs to kill a mute who didn't even have a C4, only to then get C4 by the Valkyrie instead afterwards. That's tough. And it's where you're gonna go back now and say, okay, what if Merc didn't go for that off-pace play that coulda, woulda, shoulda worked out, but did not? Well, you had one spare gun that probably would have covered more things, and maybe that round plays out differently. But that's hindsight. It's always 2020. And I think if you are Merc in a scenario, that's your instinct. You believe in that play, you go for it, and it could have paid off massively. It just didn't. Of course, the OSA as well got heavily countered, and that's kind of why OSA has gone from like a relatively high pick rate operator to, I would say, barely being played recently. Is because you normally have two sets of impacts on defense now, because you play like Wamai, Asami, Solis, and Lesion, and they all have impact grenades. And, you know, you only have 2 talent shields. 4 impact grenades versus 2 talent shields, the math doesn't add up. You just nullify the gadget of Osa entirely. She becomes basically a walking thermal with a hot breach with a 5.56 weapon, and that's it. So Mirage, you read the strat, you predicted the Osa, and had the right utility to clear it and deal with it.
Question is, do they have the right utility to deal with the Monty this time? Spirits is bringing the shield back, and he is just heading straight on down into Freezer. Under the watchful eye of Rampy on the mirror window, you've got someone providing the crossfire in Freezer as well, so Spirits will not aggress too far too fast. Needs to wait for some support, and since Merc has backed off, they're gonna wait before they eventually get a move on. As before, Wildcard have made good progress through the early round here. Minute 30 on the clock, and now these hatches are getting popped open.
Again, same good pace, little bit slower, but not anything of importance. And I think the Munchie's gonna buy you time back later on, because it allows you to actually get into that execution stage where people aren't gonna drop a hatch and just fall. Or at the very least, there's a chance that Munchie can go in first, get a bit of intel, and then you make a play off of it. We see that Spirits is outside alone inside a blue double door, but we also know that there's no defenders really in there. So once Bunty walks in, he can relay that information, and perhaps Waka can adjust their approach here. Or American just swing his target and get 2 kills, I don't know. Almost 2 kills.
I found one, nearly the second. Spirits is going to use this chance to step up and work his way on in. Spiker playing close on the bomb chassis rather than in elbow itself. That gives Spirits the free walk-up he was looking for, and now puts Vertical in a lot of trouble. Right in the middle of the swarm, with the Monty staring right at him. He manages to thrive. He gets 3, nearly 4, and Mirage takes the win instead. Oh my goodness, Vertical.
I mean, you said it. Oregon is more about team play and coordination, but you can also find the clutch. And we saw both in that round. The coordination from Wildcard. 4 members swinging 1 guy. Surely he goes down. But the split-second decision-making, right? Vert is like, if I can take 1 guy with me to the grave, who do I pick? Well, Munty is going to be the most troublesome, so he peels back, kills the Munty, and if he dies now, he's happy. He got what he wanted, but he gets 2 more, and it looked like he got the 4th there, but it was his teammate of Rampy getting instead. And that's just, if you're a great player, inside that pillar position, you can really make something happen. And that's what we just witnessed there. Vert, he's had, you know, some criticism back when he's an OXG, didn't have, you know, the most consistent of performances. He parted ways with that roster later on, now finds himself in Mirage. And a lot of life here. Had a pretty good stage so far. Great game on Chalet, great game down on Oregon. You really can teach an old dog new tricks sometimes. He just takes a new team, some new young blood, change the support staff, different environment, and see an old dog thrive again.
That's a great way of putting it. Old dog thrive again. At least so far so good for Mirage here, as they sit up 3-1 on the first half of Oregon. 4 rounds pretty much expected. 5 would be great if you're Mirage, and sets yourself up very well for that transition into the second half. But this half is not over yet. There's 2 more rounds, and we are headed to dorms, the one site that Wildcard were able to succeed on last time they were here. It started down below with Slothy, maybe got a bit too over-aggressive last time, and Wildcard were able to get that kill. This time, nobody has worked their way towards him just yet. Instead, it is Rampy who might be coming under fire, playing a bit more aggressively on the tower side.
Decision-making time, Rampy. Do you stay? Do you fall back? Reinforce the wall? because it does have a spare Rio. There it goes. Kills the drone first, then Barrett gets a maximum value here, forcing out more time, more utility. But look at this. The catch is there. It looked like it was Rampy outplaying the opposition, but it was instead a Wildcard saying, you know what? Feed the man a drone, let him reinforce the wall, we'll get the kill, we'll say thank you very much. Play this round 5 versus 4. This is the exact same position that Wildcard found themselves in last time they attacked it. Yeah, it was Slav that died, the Solis, which is a bit more important than Oryx, but they built that early lead, and it's gonna pay off later in the round when they come to those bomb site areas, because as I mentioned, there's very few ways in. You can have more guns looking at your opponents, you're gonna have a higher chance of winning those gunfights. The Twitch drones open up the mirror windows, the floor is trying to get the ADSs, and its vertical is still up and kicking, getting spirits. That's Twitch off the board.
Yeah, vertical putting up a heck of a fight right now, 7-3, and not done yet. Kansan, he'll get fully flashed though, so instead of forcing that kids window, Merc will turn towards the attic position. Gets his job done there. Sloth, the late flank, failed, as his position was known. It's just Spiker and Vertical, the only two that have any chance of shutting down another successful Dorms attack for Wildcard. And Vertical's gonna have to go nuclear once more. Sprayed down through the wall, that's 3 for Merc. Spiker is alone and has to worry about all of these positions at once. He goes for 2. That's a double for him. The shotgun will down and finish off Adam. It's just Sir, the last player standing and on 1 HP. Winnable for Spiker, and he does it. It was the goo mine that finished off Adam, and it's the 1v4. Mirage take another.
Oh my, I mean, this is completely flipped. We saw in Chalet, Mirage were losing some rounds that they really shouldn't, and now they are just winning rounds out of nowhere they have no business doing. A mixture of the secondary shotgun with the shotgun buff that came recently, it is so lethal now, even on range. It took Thatcher down to like 5 or so HP. The goo mine secures the injure. I mean, it's beautiful. And it's again, the positioning from the defense, just letting them funnel in towards them, right? Picking up those quick kills. But also, Wildcard, they strike in an uncoordinated way. Look at this. In a moment here, Spiker will seize out the first ones on Merc and try to hit Storms. No one's there to help him. I was a little too early with this. It comes now. There we go. Okay, so I said a kill here. No one can help him. Pre-fire here, the Hibana, Packer, no one can help him. So the first 2 deaths in the 4 versus 1 are essentially freebies. Whereas you walk in more together, you attack from different areas, not just the same doorway. You can apply pressure onto Spiker in that position, but they didn't. They couldn't plant. I feel like there are so many things you can do differently there, but of course, if you're in the server, you're thinking 4v1, run at this guy, kill him. And, Wildcard, with how easily they picked up the first couple of kills in the round, they're not going to really think it's going to be a struggle, but it really was. And that's really important round in that scenario, because all of a sudden, Mirage, they're building up this really big round lead. 4-1. You said that 2-4 with Wildcard they want to do, but now they've opened themselves up for this possible 5-1 as well.
Jeez, what a way to finish. And for a moment there, so confused how Adam ended up getting down, because the shotgun took him to 1 HP but didn't finish the job. He had stepped on a goo mine, and I wasn't sure whether it was when he made his entry in from the trophy door and it was still ticking away the damage, or he stepped on a new goo mine in between the attic door. Either way, that's what finished him. That's what downed him. And it became a quick 1v1, and Spiker was able to finish it off. My goodness. That's back-to-back rounds where hero plays have truly defined it for Mirage. Who knew? Who knew? That's where we would be at this point. Now, despite the energy and despite everything going Mirage's way right now, Wildcard can still recover this half by finding this final round. And doing it on meeting, it didn't go so well for them last time, but in theory, this should be a site they can win.
Yeah. Statistically, they're supposed to, but if Mirage keep playing like this, I don't care about statistics. I don't care about the average outcome, because these are not average rounds. Vertical, again, early pick onto Merc. Usually it's Merc getting the kill or staying alive, and he's, again, the spearhead for Wildcard, always getting in quickly, advancing on the front lines. That's gonna slow down the attack, I'm sure. Of course, he can watch the flank drone, so the flank shouldn't be an opening. But look at this, with the outline Rampy, he is indeed flanking, and they have no idea right now.
They're both on their drone. Rampy looks the other way, gets one, does his job. Packer, he had already used his Selmas, at least 2 of them. So it's not the biggest loss for Wildcard in the world, but still a devastating blow. And an even more devastating blow as Spiker, his C4 will send spirits sky high. And Adam and Surf are left to pick up the pieces.
Beautiful C4. I mean, it looked like Vert was done for in that corner, but no, the team coordination and communication right now is just on point. Vert's still sticking around. He wants to fight again.
Surf, there it is, so close! Just needs to land one more bullet. Adam will do that onto vertical and finally finish off that old dog that you mentioned earlier, Nick. But either way, it is Wildcard on the back foot and in need of a recovery. Mirage, 3 bodies up. 30 seconds is all they have to waste, and they can stay right at this hatch because they should know where Wildcard have to come from. Both of these attackers so low on HP. Surf, the only option he has is to send it. The Banshee reveals his position. A few bullets will do the same. A goo mine in the foot of Adam. We know how deadly they can be. Surf just hoping to find something, now trying to get this diffuser down. Slothy knows what's happening here. Can't find anyone on the coverage, but can communicate it to Spiker, who sneaks up from behind. Mirage, 5-1 at the swap.
And they deserve it. Playing very good Rainbow Six Siege right now. I do believe Spiker saw the toes there of the planet there. Didn't really realize that he was scoping in, focusing elsewhere, but it doesn't matter if you miss those small details because the teamwork is just there. Specifically how well they played on vertical up above. Yeah, vertical gets the 1 kill, the opening onto Merc, and then Rampy's like, you know what, if I can trade 1 for 1 by just sacrificing myself, that's worth it, right? And it is. If you're already in that 5 versus 4, you trade 1 for 1, you're in a 4 versus 3. It only really gets better from there. If you see Spiker saw his back there. But the C4 and vertical just like communicate together so that Vert can get away, they get the kill. It's beautiful to watch, and it leaves the attackers with no self-destruction available. They gotta just, as you mentioned, drop the hatch and try and go for a miracle plant attempt. And yeah, you know, even if the bomb goes down, what do you gain? Not really anything. We have a quick check pause. Players called for a pause name game chat just to get something sorted with the FPS. And we're going to show the 1v4 reaction one more time and get those player reactions as well. See how they celebrated.
I mean, which 1v4? I mean, could it be vertical or could it be Spiker, right? It could be either one. It'll be Spiker here. You see him again. A great kill onto Merc through the rotate. He knows where the final 3 players are coming from. There it is, Adam going down by the goo mine. Oh, and the energy from Mirage. Oh my God, from Rampy. I mean, they know they're cooking. They know they're absolutely thriving right now. And this tech pause, I mean, I'm sure they're just going to be feeling the energy as they transition into that second half. But Nick, the most important question I've got to ask you, and this is something that hopefully you got a chance to witness 2 days ago when we saw Mirage taking on Aerial Arise. But map 1 was Oregon. And Mirage, for 5 rounds, could not win a single attack. They only won the attack in their final round before transitioning over to the defense. That could very well happen again. But based on what you're seeing from Mirage, do you think that's possible?
I mean, it is possible, but I don't want to say that it's not. But Mirage and Chalet also looked relatively sloppy in the beginning half of it. But then they got, you know, a little bit better with time. Are they gonna win the very first round, you know, clear out that basement bomb set, etc.? That's a hard one, and it's where they gotta start things off. But it only gets better. That's the thing about Oregon. If you lose the first bomb set on attack, then you get Kid Storms. A little bit easier. If you lose that attack, you go tertiary. A little bit easier for the attackers again. And when you're up 5-1, you're allowed to literally only win 1 in 3 rounds. You're guaranteed overtime or a regulation win at best, or at worst rather. So I do think it's off for a good start. And if you are a team like Mirage, you've studied that game, talked about the issues. I know Mibi's behind them being like, guys, we are so bad. We gotta fix this, this, and that. And if you take your prep work serious and you put in the effort and the hours that it needs, I expect different results for sure. Right now, it's a really quick pace. The entry, the drone work, they do believe there's a rumor somewhere, but there's no one. They're chasing ghosts. We see it right here. There are 5 people either on the bomb site or right next to it on this main lobby staircase. But of course, the attackers don't know that. They don't have outlines on, don't have wall hacks. They gotta guess and clear everything else. And maybe with the prep they saw from Wildcard or Oregon, they know that they tend to have a lurk up above, but not this time.
Yeah, Wildcard, they know how do or die the situation is that they find themselves in. And they are not going to make any mistakes, or at least they're going to do whatever they can to not make mistakes. One of those would be getting into an early fight and losing their lives. So instead, they all play close to the site. It is a 5-man turtle defense, what we see right now. And Mirage maybe a little bit slower than they'd like to be by about 5 or 10 seconds here. But as soon as they get these hatches opened up, should get a pretty clear idea of what lies waiting for them down below.
We've seen Spirits play here before. Plays the shotgun on Thorn, secondary C set. The timing there just does not favor him whatsoever. It's a slaughter for Mirage.
2 bodies down. Surf and Packer. Backs against the wall. They'll find one here potentially if the Gemini clone was a person, but Vertical still waiting behind it, getting some more information before stepping up. They'll play in the close corner, suspecting that maybe some flashes might be coming in. But Mirage right now taking their time, regrouping, seconds away from securing their 6th round on Oregon. Vertical knows what he's got to do. Keep an eye on the coverage. He's got some pings. He knows exactly what he's dealing with here. But Surf, he's gone for a wild flank. Getting shut down, though, by Rampy means that this site is secured. Packer, the only thing he can do is hope and pray. But he gets mowed down anyway. Mirage, oh my goodness. What can't they do right now?
Let me ask you a question, JC. Do you think that looks like a team that's gonna lose 5 attacking rounds in a row? Because I don't believe so. I mean, it was beautiful, right? The quick entry, yeah, they're about 5 seconds late to the breaches, but that's because they spent so much time double, triple checking everything upstairs, the roamers and the lurkers. And then they made that classic off-pace play with the Spirits. He's not expecting this. There's so much time left. They haven't droned him out. But this is, again, the prep work. If you have studied Wildcard's defense, you can pretty much just assume that Spirits will play Thorn on the staircase in that exact position, either holding hatch or holding staircase. And if you push at the right time, catch him by surprise, you can very easily pick him off. And the thing is, there was no one really covering him, because no one covered the hatch drop, and surely that should have been the case for Wildcard. But those small gaps, if you find them, they can net you such a quick round victory. And when teams that go from, back to back on bomb sites when they lose them, it's because like a very small, simple mistake occurred. You're not gonna go back to basement bomb site if you think that it's not gonna be winnable. And if we replay that previous round in our heads, well, something happened that should have happened if you're Wildcard. Someone dropped the hatch, got a kill, was Vert, and then you just kind of lost the round. So you go back there one more time, change a few things up, right? They're not playing the Thorn anymore. They're probably not gonna be freezing the same way. They're still roaming a little bit for the drone deny, etc. But they want a different result with a similar setup. Not the same, but similar.
Crazy to think, though, that Wildcard had a game to go to the major. They played against DZ in a best-of-3, and had they won it, they were Atlanta bound. They, of course, lost that series, and that's why they ended up here in the last chance qualifier. But rather than having a chance to qualify, they're not even there yet. Their backs are now against the wall. They face elimination, and Mirage stand in their way. And a 5-round comeback stands in between them and a glimmer of hope. Because right now, they are in the deep, dark tunnel of despair, and they have a long way to go. Just maybe they can capitalize on a Mirage misstep. Maybe Surf is able to get an early pick here, but he's been spotted out. He's going to be forced away, and Mirage continue to take control.
Reinforcing the wall!
This is the thing when you build such a big lead for yourself, 6-1. You can lose 2-3 rounds. It doesn't matter. All you need is Wildcard to make one misstep, one slight, error For one of your players to make a clutch from the start of Mirage, and that's it, you win. You can just take that reward and say thank you very much. And Wildcard, they were 1 round away from winning the first map of Chalet. And had they done that, you know, losing here would mean cafes in the menu. But because it was in favor of Mirage, instead it could just be a quick 2-0. Mirage is setting up. They gotta get that Capital Fire, the Grim Bees, the Execute. That's gonna be what they want. And of course, the telltale signs will be when the fire comes out from Rampy. He always initiates these side executes. Sloppy strike from the back. He's the flanker. 1v1. Loses.
You're not gonna win that fight. Tough one for him. Kansan will step up. The nades in his way. That'll slow him down for a moment. But here comes Rampy. You said he's going to initiate this. He'll lose his life as Spirits collects a triple single-handedly, trying to keep Wildcard in this fight. Adam will finish off Kansan with an impact, and so it's all up to Vertical to do the rest of the work. He'll get one spray and finish off Adam for one, but around the other side, Surf will clean him up. And Wildcard, they may not be done just yet.
As the basement bombs are done and dusted, it's only gonna get harder from here. Mentally speaking, I mean, that might just be the hardest battle. That's your mental. Round by round, one at a time. You know, the perfect player doesn't really exist because we all feel emotions when we're playing the game. And there's this saying that you can play to win or you can play to lose. And it's the kind of the idea that when you play to win, you're always taking, you know, you're doing what you have to do. Your risk assessment doesn't get impacted by the fear of losing, so to speak. Whereas if you play to lose, it just basically means that you're playing so passive and sheltered and safe because, oh no, we might lose if I take this peek. We might lose if I make this play. We might lose if I make this decision. You gotta stay in it and just play as if it was 0-0. Go 1 round at a time. If you feel like you should go for a swing and you're down 2-6 and you lose that and you go, oh, if I lose that, we'll lose the game, it's over. No. What if you win that swing? What if you win that play? What if it works out in your favor? You're 1 round closer to actually winning. You have nothing to lose if you're Wildcard right now. Like, you literally have to play your hearts out every single round that you can.
Attackers are moving out.
It's gonna go into the Kid Storm's bomb site. Second choice. No surprise there. They're playing extended though. Got some frost mats and armory. We got extension from the master bedroom closet into master bedroom, so we can hold that as well. Valve cams from Merc to enable the verticality of the C4. He almost dies crossing the window barricade. Look at that. Even down 2-6, he still swings the window. Still playing off instincts and feeling, not being afraid of taking those gambles.
And that's good to see. It's good to see the Wildcard haven't lost that identity, even though they're down in a bit of a hole. And yes, they've got a long road ahead of them here. They are still playing their game.
Oh no.
And maybe that'll get them a couple of kills, but a frost mat will certainly get them a kill, potentially. At least it has the down onto Kansan right now. You've definitely heard that noise if you're Surf. But I believe he suspects that someone from Mirage is there to provide the coverage. Adam, however, will take care of Spiker, setting up, knowing that somebody was going to rappel on that armory window. It's just textbook. A single bear trap has caused this calamity.
And a C4. That's beautiful.
No!
3 kills off
Perfectly
1 frost mat. That is ridiculous. I mean, they played so well around that. The Rana for the first kill, the C4 for the second. I mean, and this is the thing. Kansan repels in, oh, I'm gonna take armory, guys, right? Frost mat. You don't expect that. It's those really weird plays that is like, what would a frost mat ever do there realistically? Well, it's so weird that it might just work.
Can't believe a frost mat just got 3 kills. That's a 1 frost mat, 3 kills. Talk about getting the most out of utility. Talk about getting the bang for your buck. Rampy is now the only one standing, and Adam will shut him down quick. Wildcard, they take it thanks to a well-placed trap.
Sometimes it's just that simple, I guess. I don't know. Not the round we expected whatsoever. And it just again goes to show that there are so many things. You can see a smile on Kansan's face. It goes to show that there are just so many things to account for every single round of Siege. And especially now more than ever, you know, more orbiters come out, you know, map reworks, new maps, etc. And you have so many different interactions with those different gadgets as well. Back in year 1, you had a thermite on attack, and if you spawn peeked him, it's like, okay, you can't breach any walls, have fun, and you just basically lost the round by default. Nowadays, you have 4 different heart breachers that do it in 4 different ways. So there's just so many things to keep track of. Gotta choose which approach you want. One thing's for certain though, Mirage, they really love the Capital. I'm not surprised. This is basically a substitution to the Ying ban, whereas most teams play Ying on Oregon. You throw out the Candelas, the smoke grenades, it gives you like an easy way to execute. It doesn't need a lot of setup, you just kind of, you know, rip it whenever you're ready.
10 seconds
Capital
left.
does the same kind of thing, but also get fire to deny area as well.
5 seconds
The tertiary bomb site though,
Attackers have
things tend to
located the bomb.
switch around. The execute is more about getting inside the map and getting a bit of map control. Typically when you defend the meeting or when you attack the meeting and kitchen bomb site, you'll see what Wildcard tried to do. You go big tower, you know, you play like, you know, an Ozer or Muncie, a shield operator, try and get that plant down onto a stage, and then you're happy. But this operator lineup from Mirage doesn't really scream big tower attack. You know, IQ, Dokkaebi, Brava, they have no real way to plan, so instead it's gonna be a lobby-sided take. Secondary MP in the pocket of Rampy and Dokkaebi, followed by a Selma of Spiker. It's gonna create a line of sight and entry point towards the meeting wall on the east side. It is a vault hole though. It'll make a lot of noise when you go in through it, but it's always gonna be there. This wall will be open for the entirety of the round. Mirage can walk away, they can come back later. It's always gonna be an issue for Wildcard that they have to worry about, that the flank is open.
And now they have to keep a watchful eye on that opening for the remainder of the round. But the question is, what will Mirage do now that they have it? Clearly, they're not going to rush in and look for that diffuser. They're now going to take some time and maybe consider their options. You pointed out, Nick, that this is not a lineup that's going for a stage take. Instead, it really does feel like kitchen might be the approach if they do want to establish another side. Sloppy finally successful on the entry for the first time, will open things up well, but Rampy, ooh, he almost got himself into trouble there. Merc, he knows he's got to step up to deny this lobby-sided take, so he will give himself a rotate to work with. And Spirits on the support will take care of another. Wildcard, they started off this round well, and Mirage have yet to really find their footing. Rampy's gonna need to find one here, but you see these final three attackers, they're kind of in three different spots.
Yeah, no one can help each other. It's a bit sloppy as well with Rampy running in and not getting any support. I think they were relying on Vertical to get a big flank off because he's gone in through small tower, got the IQ scanner, but no one's moving. Look, everyone's standing still because everyone feels like both sides feel like they're in a good position. To be fair, I don't think Mirage been in a good position, but they can't do much about their position right now. They gotta just kind of hope Wildcard they make a mistake, or if someone can find an opening. I like the fact that Rampy and Kansen are duo up together, but what awaits them is destruction from above.
Yeah, Merc's got an eye on this. Surf is prone in the corner, waiting to pounce. Rampy's gonna make a move here, but he's got a shotgun to greet him on the other side. Spirits will shut down Rampy instead. Deaton didn't even need the shotgun. Vertical's been spotted out by the prox alarm. He's able to get the kill onto Merc, who swung that a bit too aggressively. But again, Mirage, they're in a very tough spot and only have 10 seconds to fight their way out of it. Vertical double kill for him, but that's not even enough. It'll come down to Kansen, who's able to secure it, but he's now in a 1v1. All Spirits has to do is spray through the smoke. He misses the shots. And for a moment there, we missed what was happening here, but it's a post plant. Spirits is on the hunt. And Kansen, oh, you dirty dog! He gets it done. And Mirage managed to close it out in